Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Fluctus channel. This is the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, situated under 2,000 feet of solid rock inside of Cheyenne Mountain in the southwest corner of Colorado Springs. Cheyenne Mountain was excavated by the Army Corps of Engineers to construct the NORAD Combat Operations Center and became fully operational on April 20th, 1966. Over time, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex housed elements of the U.S. Strategic Command, U.S. Air Force Space Command, and U.S. Northern Command, U.S. NORTHCOM. In October 1962, a major confrontation known as the Cuban Missile Crisis brought the United States and the Soviet Union close to war over the presence of Soviet nuclear-armed missiles in Cuba. Having promised in May 1960 to defend Cuba with Soviet arms, the Soviet Union installed medium and intermediate-range ballistic missiles in Cuba, with the thought that the United States would take no further steps to prevent it. However, such missiles, if launched from Cuba, could hit much of the eastern United States within minutes. And this was unbearable. On October 14, 1962, U-2 planes flying over the island confirmed the presence of a ballistic missile on the launching site. The United States did not consider an immediate invasion. President John F. Kennedy decided to place a naval quarantine or blockade on Cuba and announced that the U.S. forces would seize any offensive weapons and associated material that Soviet vessels might attempt to deliver to Cuba. As the two superpowers were on the brink of nuclear war, messages were exchanged between both countries. Finally, on October 28, 1962, Russia announced that the work on the missile sites would be stopped, and the missiles already in Cuba would be returned to the Soviet Union. In return, Kennedy confirmed the United States to never invading Cuba and secretly promised to withdraw the nuclear-armed missiles from Turkey that were placed in previous years. Soon after, both parties started to fulfill their promises, and a major conflict was avoided. The construction of the Cheyenne Mountain Complex was completed shortly before the Cuban Missile Crisis, and the need for such a facility became glaringly apparent. This hardened command and control center was considered a game changer for defense against long-range Soviet bombers. Due to ongoing operational and security requirements, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex is not open to the general public for tours. But it is still possible to see what's inside this huge facility. A famous tunnel leads to the main entry that features two blast doors weighing 25 tons each. These doors were designed to protect the interior of the facility against almost any kind of attack, including nuclear, biological, electromagnetic pulse, and several more. Anyone entering the Cheyenne Mountain Complex must go through a security checkpoint. Anyone not authorized to enter the complex is immediately removed from the facility. Moreover, the military personnel inside the complex monitor the nearby vicinity on large displays and report any discrepancies to their superiors. The entryway into the Cheyenne Mountain Complex features the insignia of 4 tenants, including NORAD, U.S. Northern Command, Air Force Space Command, and U.S. Strategic Command. There are several buildings inside the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, each 3 stories high. The main building features various amenities for the personnel, such as a medical facility, a store, and a cafeteria. In addition, there are fitness centers both inside and outside the mountain. Inside the facility, there are a large number of cots for most of the personnel, including exceptional suites for high-ranking officers. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex was designed to protect against a nuclear blast or an earthquake. Therefore, more than 1,000 giant springs are placed under 15 buildings of the complex, allowing the structures to shift up to 1 full inch in any direction. These springs are expected to protect the building and the personnel inside. In addition to the giant springs, there are flexing connectors between various piping, with the sole purpose of helping the complex's infrastructure survive a major blast. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex is now managed by Air Force Space Command and hosts the activities of several tenant units. As of 2023, it is an alternate command center for NORAD and U.S. Northcom and is used for crew training. All the original functions of the complex were removed to Peterson Air Force Base, located in Colorado Springs. Now, NORAD and U.S. Northcom use less than 30% of the floor space within the Cheyenne Mountain Complex and comprise only 5% of the daily population of the facility. Previously, this facility was a joint operations center for NORAD and U.S. Northcom. Several other units, along with U.S. Northcom, supported the NORAD missions. The Cheyenne Complex was a defense hub of the United States and supported aerospace warning and control missions. It was also capable of warning against ballistic missile or air attacks against North America. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex wasn't the only high-profile underground facility operated by the United States. Since the early 1960s, the U.S. military has been using underground missile silos or missile launch facilities for storing and launching missiles. A missile silo is basically an underground vertical structure covered by a 110-ton blast door on the surface. This door looks like a big concrete slab from the outside, and one cannot see much of what's behind the blast door. But there's a bunch of other stuff behind that door that is unimaginable to an ordinary person. Typically, every missile silo contains a built-in launch control center. However, in the case of ICBMs like the Minuteman III, the launch crew is not located at each silo separately. Instead, 2 launch officers are stationed in an underground launch control center, which is connected via hardened cables to 10 other silos. These silos combined are known as a flight. The silos are located 10 to 20 miles away from one another in an attempt to protect the flight against a hostile attack. In addition, all the launch control centers of a flight are part of a missile alert facility, where launch crews stay active 24/7 and maintain reliable communication with the President and Secretary of Defense. Around 450 ready-to-fire intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, are operated by the United States in these silos. As soon as a potential threat is detected, the U.S. military briefs the President about the consequences of retaliating with an ICBM launch. If the President decides to launch an ICBM, the Pentagon War Room is notified and a launch sequence is generated. But before launching an ICBM, the launch crew carries an extensive pre-launch check to ensure it is in working order. The personnel enter the silo through the blast door using an elevator and carefully examine the body of the ICBM. Within the silo, a passage to the launcher equipment room opens, where the launch crew inspects the missile's guidance system, propulsion, and safety mechanism. After verifying all the systems, the launch crew receives the final authorization to proceed with the launch. The launch sequence begins with a countdown. During this phase, everyone is evacuated from the immediate vicinity of the silo for safety reasons. Finally, the ICBM launches from the silo towards the target, and the launch crew monitors its trajectory until it hits the target. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex symbolizes a defensive stronghold, housing critical agencies focused on aerospace and space defense, while the Minuteman Missile Facility represents offensive capabilities with its ICBM launches. The different activities occurring in these facilities highlight the evolving nature of military strategy where defensive and offensive roles are balanced to address modern threats. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our new content. See you next time.